one of the hardest things to do these days, I mean it is so difficult, is to have an honest discussion. And I mean an honest discussion about anything. An honest discussion on politics? Don't even go there. This is very sad, because many times an honest discussion is medicine. It will heal. Of course, most medicine is very bitter. Most medicine is not nice to take. But ultimately, it will heal you. And that is exactly what an honest discussion is all about. Let me give you a very simple example before we dive headfirst into BBI politics. You have a major problem with your wife or your husband. You have not spoken for weeks. You're communicating through your children. And yet you live in the same house. So for example, when food is ready, your wife sends one of the kids with the following message. Kwenda ambia hiyo nugu imekaa hapo sitting room. Chakula imeiva, iko tayari na iko kwa meza. And then you send the same child back with the following message. Kwenda ulize mama yako, ile siku kabla tujaoana, alipiga magoti mbele yangu. Muulize kwa nini alikuwa anapiga magoti. Yani what is going on in that house is war. Yeah, you're just throwing barbs at each other back and forth. And your children are terrified. Why is it that parents involve kids in their manenos? Poor kids. And all this time, a very honest, truthful discussion between man and wife would have sorted out this problem, pop. But you can be very sure that discussion will never take place. But if that discussion had taken place, the bitter medicine to solve this problem, it would have gone something like this. And I mean a brutally honest discussion. The man speaks first. I come home at the end of a very hard day, after being punished at the office by all those women who dress very badly. I mean, they wear skirts, but it's very difficult to see those skirts. And then I get home and I find you, my wife, in a bad mood. Always. Hata afadhali ile bad mood ya boss. Hii yako imezidi. And then I remember my conversation with this friend of mine in the office, who hails from Mombasa. And he tells me what happens when he gets home. His wife always receives him warmly, with a smile. Ah, umechoka sana mamangu, pole kwa kazi. And then she takes his coat. And then she says, there seems to be something wrong with the shower. There's no hot water. But I've warmed some water for you, so you can go and have a bath now. Yani is always happy to arrive home. And me, I always brace myself when I know I'm going home. Alafu ikifika wakati wa kitanda, umevaa leather tights kama tatu. And you have covered your beautiful hair with a shower cap. And your face is covered by some cream that looks like mud. Na inanyuka kama mavi ya kuku. And the smell of that cream easily overwhelms your perfume. I hardly ever get my conjugal rights. The only time I remember getting it nicely was last Christmas. Yeah, after you danced the whole evening with my kid brother. And you were drunk. Yani mchezo haiwezi endelea mpaka unywe pombe. And I know this latest war started when I took my God-given rights by force. And you know the impact some of your words have been having on your wife. Yeah, because sometimes she shuts her eyes in pain at your words. And then it is her turn to speak the truth. She tells you her biggest problem is that these days your mouth smells and your body smells worse. Because when you come home from the office, you never take a shower. You take showers only in the morning. And you're very much aware since the day you married her. She has always been sensitive to bad smells. When you first got married, you were careful. You brushed your teeth regularly and had a bath twice a day. And where did that very nice cologne you used to wear go? Where did it vanish to? Because she hasn't smelt it for years. And then to make matters worse, she watches Alejandro on some Mexican soap. His stomach is flat. Yours, it looks like you're going to visit Pumwani Maternity Hospital any second now. That is the way your tummy looks like to her. And she's human. Yeah, so what do you expect her to do? What do you expect her to feel? Because she can't play this game without feelings. And then to add insult to injury, you have decided to cut down costs. Yeah, because of Wuhan virus challenges. And the first cost to go was her hair, her salon cost. And yet you did not cut down on your cost for alcohol. In fact, it has increased dramatically. If only you took a fraction out of it, she'd be able to go to the salon and feel good about herself and make it easier for her to get into the mood. You get my drift? That is a very brutal and honest discussion between a man and his wife. It is very painful for both sides. But at the end of it, this man starts having a bath twice a day. He goes and purchases that expensive cologne that he never owned because he used to borrow it. And he starts doing sit-ups, exercises in the morning. And on the other side, the leather tights vanish. Bottom line, the painful medicine works. And so let us take some painful medicine linked to the BBI. It is very difficult to convince anybody that the Building Bridges Initiative principles, Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta, will not benefit from the BBI being passed. It is very difficult, impossible to convince anybody of that. Because at the end of the day, those two are politicians. They are not neutral. Even if the president is serving his last term, he will surely benefit. Now let's move to the other side. Why is it that Deputy President William Samoei Ruto has consistently, always been against the BBI? Why? And we are looking for the brutal truth, like the mdomo wako na nyuka kind of thing. At first, it was because it was going to create a presidency much less powerful than the current presidency. And indeed, there's reason to believe that has to be the reason why we have ended up with a presidency in the BBI proposal that makes the presidency even stronger than it was or than it is currently. We know Raila Odinga wanted a parliamentary system. We know a parliamentary system is best for the country. But because of the opposition from DP Ruto, that quickly became not viable. Because this is politics. You don't deal with things which are not viable. But now that we've ended up with a powerful presidency, why is the deputy president still muddying the waters? Is it because he wants to save Kenyans from an expanded executive? Hey, I don't think so. Is it because suddenly he has become very genuinely concerned about the ordinary Kenyan? No way. Because if he was selflessly concerned about the ordinary Kenyan, he would have proposed a parliamentary system. If he was genuine, he would have proposed something that would have crushed his 2022 dreams for the presidency. Yeah, and opted to do something that will stand the test of time. Something that will benefit the ordinary Wanjiku, the ordinary Kenyan. In fact, to understand the deputy president's actions, we need to appreciate the fact that throughout his political career, he has come out as a short-tempered, very vengeful person. Yeah? And I will even give you evidence to prove to you why the deputy president has always been behaving the way he's behaving. Evidence from what he himself told the president at a public gathering. Oh yes. You remember the BBI launch at Bomas when the president said that when the baton was passed over to William Ruto, instead of running forward, instead of continuing the race forward, he ran the opposite direction, backwards. And then you'll remember the deputy president got off his seat, rushed to where the president was making a speech, and whispered something into his ear, rather loudly. Loud enough for the microphones around to capture it at a distance. And you know these days technology is such that you can amplify a certain sound, yeah, and mute the sounds around, so that that thing which is not audible at first becomes clearly audible. And this is what the deputy president whispered loudly into the president's ears. The reason why he has done all this is because he was removed from the number 9 position, the striker position in soccer, the prominent position in the Jubilee government. Oh yes. Now. What that means is that whatever Raila suggests or proposes, no matter how good, no matter how beneficial, the deputy president will always, forever oppose it. That means that if Raila proposes today that in 2022, the deputy president vies unopposed for the presidency, nobody opposes him, he automatically becomes the president in 2022. If Raila proposes that today, the deputy president, without thinking, will oppose it. That's really what it is. Why? Because he was removed from the number 9 striker position. And Raila Odinga took that position instead of him. That is really what it is. That is the brutal, undiluted truth. Now, to a keen political analyst, and indeed to regulars on this channel, that is not news. The fact that Deputy President William Samoei Ruto was the most powerful individual within the Jubilee government since 2013, that is not news. The fact that he had the number 9 striker position, that's not news. But because of this confession, confessing with his own mouth, the Deputy President has told us, without doubt, that he is the one who was in that position during the fateful 2017 presidential elections. Jubilee Party Vice Chair David Murathe told us that the Deputy President rigged the Jubilee nominations in the run-up to those elections. But now, the Deputy President has confessed, tena in broad daylight, that he was in the striking position when Jubilee rigged the presidential election in 2017. Meaning that after he finished with the Jubilee nominations, he moved to the national elections. The Deputy President has told us, with his own mouth, that he was at the forefront of all the evil terror that was rained on supporters of NASA and Raila Odinga in 2017. And now, this is the man still in pole position to be the next president of Kenya. Yeah. God have mercy on Kenya. Let me remind you, we are having an honest conversation. Truthful. Hatufichi kitu. Tunatoboa kila kitu. And what I'm telling you is not based on what somebody else said. It is not based on us figuring out things. It is all anchored on what the deputy president said himself. What came out of his mouth. You know, Kenyans are in exactly the same situation Americans are in right now, where we are pawns being used by the powerful in a battle we don't understand. At least most people don't understand it, because some very smart people believe that the current American elections are ordinary presidential elections. And to make matters worse, even after one of the candidates, presidential candidates, has clearly shown the voters what he's going to do, the agenda is going to pursue, that will basically enslave mankind, people still can't see. And it is the same in Kenya. Even after what was done to us during the 2017 presidential elections, and now we know for sure who was in the striking position, who was directing everything. We are now rallying behind that candidate. We want to make him our president in 2022. We are saying a leopard can change its spots. Oh boy. Even worse, we are saying a leopard can change its spots, and become spotless in politics. I'm sincerely sorry if I've hurt anybody's feelings. And indeed, I'm sure I've hurt some people's feelings very much. But we're speaking the truth. And you're free to speak some truth back to me. Yeah, because we're having a very honest discussion here. Pain on both sides, but we arrive at the truth. And we get our medicine. And maybe I shouldn't be surprised, because after all, Adolf Hitler did not come into power in Germany through a military coup. No, he came to power through a very genuine election. And let me give you a very hot tip. The same people who are behind Hitler are the very same people who are behind a certain candidate in the United States. There is really nothing new under the sun. And history clearly shows us that we humans are often led into a trap, like sheep being led to the slaughter with our eyes wide open. During the day, not at night, during the day when we can see clearly. But we refuse, very stubbornly we refuse to think. And our emotions lead us by the nose straight to slaughter. And this is why somebody without emotion who left Kenya in 2017 and comes back today would look at Kenyans and just shake their head. And they would ask, Ati, you want to elect who president? Kenyans, you're not serious. Aye. How now? Folks, that is the naked, brutal truth. Did you know experts, at least some experts, believe that anger is a spirit? A spirit that some of us are born with, which can have devastating consequences in our lives. But the good news is that any spirit can be cast out, can be gotten rid of. Now that we're talking about spirits, there's another spirit that is even more devastating. Like the man who marries and marries again. Every time he marries, the woman leaves him. Well, for those who want to know more about this highly sensitive matter, I have a very fascinating video on this channel. focused on the spirit of rejection. It is quite detailed, and you can even learn how people get it in the first place. Usually when they're born. It's very fascinating. I recommend it. You can see a link on the top right hand corner of your screens right now. The same link is also repeated in the description area below. Please find some time for it. It could change your life. And please remember to subscribe to this channel. That is if you are yet to be a subscriber. Thanks very much for watching. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.